morning. Please rise for the presentation of colors by the Santa Monica Police Honor Guard. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I invite Savi Lebensart to come forward and sing the national anthem.
Please join in singing with me. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red gleam, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you. Please be seated. Good morning. I'd like to welcome all our dignitaries today. However, if I listed you all, we'd be here all day because you're all dignitaries in one way or another. I do want to extend a special welcome to our council members here today, Mayor Bloom and Councilmember Gleam and Councilmember Holbrook, as well as our city manager, Rod Gould, and his staff. Thank you so much for being here. Now I want to take a moment and welcome Deputy Chief Venegas and invite him to the stage.
Thank you. Good morning, and welcome to the City of Santa Monica's swearing-in ceremony. Throughout Chief Seabrook's career, she has been referenced to a first many times. This usually surrounded being the first to hold this particular rank. And here in Santa Monica, it's been no different. She had the distinction of rising through the ranks and attaining the rank of captain of police. However, what I want to magnify about today's ceremony is the fact that Chief Seabrooks will not only be our police department's 16th chief of police, our first female chief, it will be the first time will be the first time in the last 20 years that someone from the Santa Monica Police Department has risen through the ranks and now is at the helm of the organization and will be its next chief of police. Something we all talk about here is the Santa Monica way. Something about Santa Monica is somewhat different than everywhere else. Looking out into the audience, I see a number of past retirees, people who have spent their careers here, went off and retired and moved on in their lives, but they're back here today. So I believe that's a testament to what I'm talking about the magnitude of having one of our own becoming the chief of police here. Jacqueline Seabrooks began her career in Santa Monica, spent 25 years here gaining necessary skills, insights, and honing her leadership abilities that enabled her to become the chief of police for the city of Inglewood. There, she refined those skills and those abilities and proved herself as a competent leader, and that has now allowed her the ability to return home, back to the Santa Monica Police Department. So, without further ado, let's get on with the rest of the ceremonies. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Please welcome Mayor Richard Bloom.
Well, welcome. It's another gorgeous day in Santa Monica and yet another fabulous milestone for our community. I want to begin by thanking Chief Venegas. I really want to personally thank you, Chief, for your superior leadership of the police department as interim chief during this transition. Thank you. Today we welcome a woman of outstanding ability and leadership. We welcome a woman who is one of our own. We welcome Jackie Seabrooks to lead the Santa Monica Police Department forward and into our community's future. If you look at the trajectory of Chief Seabrooks' career, a 25-year veteran of the Santa Monica Police Department and Inglewood chief for the past 4.5 years, it is clear that she has the experience, the skill, and the leadership abilities to carry us forward. Chief Seabrooks stood above all others in a nationwide search for chief that was highly competitive. As one might imagine, chief of the Santa Monica Police Department is a highly coveted position. And now the verdict is in. We have chosen her, and how fortunate we are that she has chosen us. And so it is that today's swearing-in ceremony marks a new beginning for us all, with Chief Seabrooks in command. With those 25 years of experience in the Police Department of Santa Monica, she is well respected within the department, and she possesses the intimate knowledge of the unique qualities of our city, our neighborhoods, and our people. 25 years. I spent nearly the same amount of time as a neighborhood activist and council member in our city, and I've had the good fortune to work with a succession of terrific chiefs. And over those years and those transitions, I've learned that each chief stands on the shoulders of their predecessor, takes the baton, and moves the community forward. I know that Chief Seabrooks is ready, willing, and highly able to lead our outstanding department to even greater success. Welcome, Chief Seabrooks. Welcome. Welcome home, Chief Seabrooks. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Bloom. Please welcome City Manager Rod Gould.
Good morning, and thank you for such an outstanding turnout this morning. Police departments are a bit of an anomaly in free society. When you consider the awesome authority that is bestowed on police, authority that includes the right to detain, to arrest, and to use force if necessary, in a system of government that only reluctantly gives authority to anyone, and then often heavily curtails it as a threat to free society and the principles of representative government. And then you consider that this awesome authority that is delegated to our police is delegated to those at the service level, those on the line that are expected to use their professional judgment in the exercise of that awesome authority, potentially every day, without direction, without control. That's quite something. And consider that local representative democracy is dependent upon its police to exercise that authority wisely and judiciously. And hence, the selection of a new police chief is that much more critical to a community and to every member of the department, sworn or non-sworn, and to the other departments in the organization that are necessary of ensuring the quality of life, the safety and security of the city. We ask our police to do a lot. We ask our police to maintain a sense of order. We ask our police to make sure that people do not prey upon one another. We ask our police to maintain a sense of security. We ask our police to facilitate movement. We ask them to resolve conflicts and solve problems and protect the very processes and rights that are essential to democracy. That's a heavy load. And so when Chief Tim Jackman informed me in December of his intent to retire after his fine service to this community, I was determined to carry out a nationwide search for the best possible person to lead a highly functioning Santa Monica Police Department into the future. And I wanted to get it right. So the mayor indicated that we conducted a major process to find our new chief. And I want to go through that for a moment because there might be some that think this was a simple matter of welcoming back a highly respected, beloved police leader into our community. And they could not be more incorrect. To begin with, we didn't want to simply hire a recruiter to go out and bring us the usual suspects, the usual applicants. So we asked our Human Resources Department to conduct the recruitment, but we worked with the International City-County Management Association and the International Professional Management Association to put on the most comprehensive process possible to determine what are the traits and characteristics essential for the success of the next chief in Santa Monica, and to tailor that process to our fair city. It began with the consultants reading thousands of pages of documents, of reports on our police department, on budgets, on complaints, operational plans, all the press that had been written about our police for the last 10 years. Then they came on site and they interviewed 36 people, many of them from inside the department, representing the various functions of our police department, many of them community leaders. And then they did a ride-along and they took part in a briefing. And then they wrote a report, which became a profile of the Santa Monica Police Department in January of this year. And in that report, they detailed what they thought were the special and the optimal characteristics of the next police chief, and therefore what the search should focus upon. It's a very flattering report that speaks highly of the quality of our police department, and it gave us clear insights into the type of person we should search for in this recruitment process. We were fortunate to have 66 applicants from all over the nation. Some of the top cops in America applied for this job. We used an objective screening tool to cut 66 down to 7, and then these top 7 candidates spent all day on May 27th in the most advanced assessment center we believe has been conducted in our country for a chief of police. These included real-life scenarios that tested command presence, written and spoken skills, problem solving, working with the media, working with the community, crisis management, staff development, counseling, a wide range of experiences necessary in order to succeed as a chief of police. We had professional actors take part in this assessment center, and we trained raters to be able to look for the right things and to, as objectively and as fairly as possible, rate the top 7 candidates in all of these issue areas. Out of that came 2 top finalists, and the interviews the next day yielded a clear result. Now, you've heard that Chief Seabrooks has spent 25 years in the beginning of her career in the Santa Monica Police Department, rising from police officer to captain and holding many of the specialty assignments along the way. For that reason, she is well knowledgeable about the wide range of functions carried out by a modern police department and is very knowledgeable about this particular community and the many fine people that make it up. But then she went off to the city of Inglewood to become chief of police there. And I want to tell you about some of the challenges and her successes in that city. Inglewood was struggling at the time that she took the helm. There's no question about it. Crime was very high. Citizen distrust of the police department was also, sadly, very high. And the department itself was under investigation by the Department of Justice. It was rife with personnel issues. Chief Seabrooks took the helm. She cleaned house. She set professional standards. With the help of the able officers of that department and the community behind her, she lowered the crime rate in Inglewood to the levels found in the 1970s, and that's where it is today. During this period, the city was going through awful budget cuts, and she also had to preside over layoffs and furloughs. She satisfied the Department of Justice. It's no longer under investigation. And from what I've been told by the people of Inglewood are very, very appreciative of all that she was able to accomplish there. Now, many of you have come up to tell me how excited you are that Jackie Seabrooks is returning to Santa Monica. You remember her fondly because she helped you at some point in your career, whether you're a member of the community or you're a member of our police department. Everybody seems so very excited about her return. I just want to caution you that although her principles, her values, her personality, what she stands for is exactly the same as when she left us, what she did in Inglewood has greatly strengthened her as a leader and a manager and administrator. And she brings those skills back to us with greater perspective than she could have ever had if she had just stayed in our ranks, in our midst. And so we're very fortunate for her excellent service in that city. She beat some of the top chiefs in major metropolitan areas in this country. Chiefs, deputy chiefs, assistant chiefs, and commanders. She was the clear winner. She won it straight away. And she's eager to join a terrific group of department directors that is ready to welcome her, the other chiefs in the region, all of you community leaders, and the members of this department, many of whom she knows very, very well. I also want to join the mayor in thanking Deputy Chief Al Venegas, who served with distinction these last 3 months and gained more knowledge firsthand of what a real chief has to do day to day to lead such a dynamic department in such an active city as Santa Monica. And it makes you even a greater asset to the department, of the organization, and to our new chief. Thank you very much, Al Venegas. And so I conclude by saying congratulations, Chief Seabrooks. You won it. Welcome home. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now invite former Santa Monica police officer, the Honorable Judge Scott Gordon, to come forward. Chief.
I am honored and humbled to have the privilege of swearing in probably the smartest trainee I ever had as a field training officer. I checked her shoes are sharp, she's looking sharp today, and actually my son's new chief, so I am very humbled to be here. Chief, raise your right hand, please. I state your name.
I, Jacqueline Seabrooks,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Chief of Police of the Santa Monica Police Department
of the office of the Chief of Police for the Santa Monica Police Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
And I'd like to invite Natalie DeBray. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Chief Jacqueline Seabrooks.
Well, it seems as though for the second time in a couple of weeks, I'm a little misty-eyed, and I've got a hitch in my throat, and I'm at work. And as someone pointed out, it's the first time in 31 years that they'd seen that, and I said, it's probably the first time you'll ever see it again. So forgive me for the minor faux pas, but it's an emotional moment for me. It's a great day. Honorable Mayor Bloom, Mr. City Manager, Judge Gordon, thank you for your kind comments and most gracious welcome. Before I get too far, I want to say to Chief Venegas, thank you for stabilizing the organization pending my arrival. You've done a fabulous job, and I sincerely appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to working with you and the balance of command staff and the men and women of the Santa Monica Police Department moving forward. Secondarily, I want to say thank you to Ms. Laura Lee Ash, because she worked diligently along with other staff to put today's event together. And we can't possibly understand how much work that was, and I really, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate that. So I wanted to say thank you to her. And to you, my extended family, my friends, my colleagues, thank you for your support and your presence here today. I really appreciate that you took the time from your busy schedules to travel near and far to celebrate with the City of Santa Monica and with me and my staff. I particularly appreciate those of you who traveled from great distances. There's people here from out of county, Kern County, Ventura County. I'm not sure what county Bart is in, but it's up north, way up north. And then we have Mrs. Cora Dewberry, my extended family who flew in from Chicago. Today's celebration is proof that whoever said you can't go home again was absolutely misinformed. Today is proof that it can be done not once, not twice, but 3 times. For those of you who might not know, I'm actually a three-peat. I was first hired as a police officer in 1982 with the Santa Monica Police Department. In 1985, following the resolution of some unpleasantness, I'll just leave it at that, I was reinstated. And now here I am again, and it's 2012. And you know what they say about the third time? But all of that notwithstanding, not only am I honored and humbled at being selected for this prestigious position, but I also feel truly privileged to have been afforded the opportunity to serve the City of Santa Monica and the fine men and women of the police department one more time. For these reasons, this is truly an amazing experience for me both personally and professionally. At this point, I'm returning to a city where so much has changed. Santa Monica is universally known as a dynamic, cosmopolitan urban environment where expectations are quite high. and community participation and engagement in the government structure is quite strong. The police department is a well-oiled machine. It's professionally sophisticated, and the members have equally high expectations. And as we move forward, I intend to meet head-on the challenges inherent in leading this high-performing organization at this time in its evolution. And make no mistake, we have a lot of heavy lifting ahead of us. We have to turn our attentiveness to our core mission, which is working smartly to reduce crime and the fear of crime, managing traffic and other service challenges, further engaging our community, further developing and nurturing new and existing partnerships, expanding existing organizational capacity by embracing and developing all of our people, while serving as fiscally responsible, professional, responsive safety service providers who operate firmly within the constitutions of the United States, or I'm sorry, the provisions of the United States Constitution. Did I say something about heavy lifting? But no worries. Because of the work of my predecessors, I know the men and women of the Santa Monica Police Department are well prepared to tackle these 21st century challenges. And as you can tell, I have a happy face, and I'm excited about the prospects as I take the helm of the Santa Monica Police Department as its 16th Chief of Police. But for those of you who know me, you know that I believe in giving credit where credit is due. And I would be absolutely remiss if I didn't thank the City of Inglewood, its police department, and the men and women of that community, some of whom are celebrating with us here today. To those of you from Inglewood, I say thank you for your support, and I love you for all that you've done for me. Without what we experienced and what we were able to overcome on the road to accomplishment, I wouldn't be standing right here, right now, in this place at this time. So you too should bask in this moment. Because of you, this is truly a shared success. And it was in Inglewood that I learned the truth of Eleanor Roosevelt's comment. Women are like tea bags. We don't know our true strength until we're in hot water. But it was that hot water that gave me strength, cleared my vision, inspired my ambition, and ultimately brought on a measure of success. So I say to you, my Inglewood family, thank you. You'll always be in my heart. To my new community, its members, my City Hall partners, and the men and women of the Santa Monica Police Department, do know that I'm truly looking forward to working with you to make for a safer Santa Monica and to enhance the already excellent performance of our police department. I'm looking forward to working with you to chart a new direction that's going to be supported by strong ethical leadership, forward thinking, collaboration, community engagement, accountability, mutual respect, and integrity. In closing, I'm going to leave you with a quote from Franklin Delano Roosevelt, our 32nd president. Confidence thrives on honesty, on honor, on the sacredness of obligations, on faithful protection, and unselfish performance. With that in mind, I say thank you for the honor of trusting me to serve you as the City of Santa Monica's 16th Police Chief. I will do so honorably, unselfishly, and faithfully, and I'm confident, absolutely confident, that the men and women of the Santa Monica Police Department will do exactly the same. Thank you.